Imagine if you had to choose what to do for the rest of your life when you were in middle school. At this point in your life, you were probably confused while you were seeing letters in your math homework, and that's without having to worry about taking down a corrupt international organization of psychics that want to overthrow society using eugenics. Yeah, that would be a little too much for little old middle school me, but not for Mob. Mob Psycho is about a middle schooler called Shigeo, or as most people call him, and his struggle to fit in with society and his journey towards finding happiness within himself. While also, being the most fucking powerful psychic in the world at 13. Or, wait, how old is Mob? He's 14. Wait, he's 5'2"! He's 5'2"! Come on! Spoilers for Mob Psycho Season 3, Episode 1. Season 3 of Mob Psycho 100 is a perfect episode, but not in the way you might think. The episode immediately starts with Mob being presented with the Career Path Survey, and it's pretty daunting, especially since he has no clue what he wants to do in life. So, he goes around to all the people he knows to ask what their plans are. Well, everyone he asks already knows what they're doing. Of course they do. As if his feelings of inadequacy from not knowing what to do weren't weighing down on him enough. This really is how it feels sometimes. It's like everyone has everything figured out, and you're the only one who's lost. It can be a really difficult feeling to get out of because it consumes your whole identity. It feels like there's no hope. But there is. Not everyone knows what they're doing. A lot of people are just winging it and might be as clueless as you. Come on, you're telling me this guy's life aspirations amount to office worker? Come on. Sure, your peers might know what college they want to go to or what they want to major in, but how are they supposed to know if they'll actually like it? How will they know if they'll even like working a job in that field, or if they'll still enjoy it years later? It sounds daunting, but the fact is that it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do forever. You might be interested in something now, but you'll probably be interested in something completely different later. Don't lock yourself into something just because you have this false belief that what you choose now will be what you have to do forever. That idea will paralyze you in fear and stop you from pursuing something you genuinely enjoy. If you let fear hold you back your whole life, you might end up like the bum that Mob in Cityzawa helped. He was a fucking hoarder, a nicotine addict, he probably doesn't shower, and he literally sits in his house all day. He has no aspirations, and he uses unhealthy addictions to cope with his anxiety about not doing anything with his life. As much as he wants to blame the way he turned out on not taking the right path when he was younger, and that one mistake ended his life. Yeah, that's bullshit. He is just so fucking wrong. The reason why he ended up as a bum was because he gave up on himself. He felt the anxiety of not wanting to make the wrong decision, but then distracted himself from that anxiety by indulging in instant gratification. For him, he was smoking and hoarding. For modern teenagers, it might be spending hours on YouTube or TikTok or watching hentai. By distracting yourself from these so-called bad feelings, you never address what your body is trying to get you to deal with. There's a quote from a book that I read a while ago called Rich Dad, Poor Dad that sums this up perfectly. Most of the time, life does not talk to you. It just sort of pushes you around. Each push is life saying, wake up. There's something I want you to learn. Anxiety is not inherently bad. It exists in our body to make us aware of a distressing circumstance. Anxiety is what kept people alive when humans lived in the wild in tribes. If you always get anxious whenever you think about what it is you want to do with your future, take some time to dwell on that and really understand where it's coming from and what you can do about it. We see Mob do this perfectly. Instead of running away from his anxiety, he took a step forward without knowing 100% if it was the right move and just wrote down going to high school. Although it seems simple, the act of just choosing something and going with it takes a lot of courage. At the beginning of the episode, Mob was frightened by the idea of having to write something down, but despite the fact he still doesn't know what he wants to do, he developed the courage to step into the unknown. He pushed through the anxiety and came out of it a better person. The issue was no longer weighing on his mind. He was finally able to relax, knowing he was now one step closer toward his true self. This new confidence allowed him to think about his life more deeply until he eventually came to the conclusion that he didn't see his future being at Reagan's Spirit and Such consultation office. Mob began the episode in passivity, trying to ask other people what they wanted to do as a way to escape dealing with the anxiety of thinking about what he wanted for himself. He saw the bum and realized what could happen if he continued to neglect confronting his anxiety. It was the push he needed to start examining his own thoughts and make a decision. Of course, he didn't know with 100% certainty that this decision was the best possible thing he could do, but he was okay with that. If everyone was afraid of making mistakes, nothing would ever be accomplished. Failing is part of the process of growth. You learn what to do better next time, and after compounded failures over years, you begin to know very well what you need to do. It's that first step that puts it all into motion. What is it that you are still running away from? Do you not know what to do after high school? Do you have no hobbies and no clue what you might like? Are you aware that your life could be better, but don't know what to change? This is all okay. I've had all of these thoughts before, and I understand they make you feel like shit. Trust me, and trust Mob. The way out of this is to just take action. Take action in spite of not fully knowing if it's the right choice. Hell, even if you know it's not exactly what you want, but isn't bad for you, then go for it anyway. Action will always beat inaction. So, take a leap of faith.